According to brand new polling, Donald Trump is getting historical levels of support. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new video, and today we have to talk about the 2024 presidential election because it appears that Donald Trump is receiving historical levels of support. Yeah, that's right. Despite what Democrats may claim about the current state of the race, how Trump is somehow down by 50 points, he's going to lose every single state. Despite what they're claiming, Trump is actually in a very good position to win. Now, does that mean it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to win every single state? Of course not. I still think at the end of the day, it will be a relatively speaking close election. But at the same time, it's becoming very apparent that Trump is doing very good with Democratic groups. And it's not just one group that he's doing way better with. It seems like he's doing better with virtually every single voter bloc, every single demographic, everyone. I'm not even kidding when I say that. I really can't think of a single demographic right now that Trump is doing significantly worse with compared to 2020. Look at this. This is a poll of just Hispanic voters from NBC News. All right, this is not a far-right outlet. Right now, Trump is getting 40% of the Hispanic vote, while Harris is only getting 54%. Yeah. Right now, according to NBC News, this is a poll just of Hispanic voters. Right now, Harris is only winning Hispanics by 14 points. A quick reminder that back in 2020, Biden won these same voters by roughly 36 points. Clinton back in 2016, it was roughly 50 points. That's what NBC claimed, or that's what some of the exit polls showed. There are other data points out there that suggest Trump actually lost Hispanics by like 28 back in 2020. Like the Fox News voter analysis, he lost them by roughly 28 to 30 points. But either way, the fact is, Harris is collapsing with Hispanics. She is only getting 54% of Hispanic voters. And even if you give her every single undecided Hispanic voter, which is not going to happen, like, if you really think every single Hispanic's going to break for Harris, you're delusional. If they're not voting for her now, yeah, she's probably going to win the majority of them. But more than likely, there's a chunk of Hispanics that are undecided. They're going to break for Trump, or they may not vote. But either way, even if she wins every single Hispanic that's undecided, she is still doing 10 to 15 points worse than Biden did back in 2020. This is historical because outside of Bush 2004, which was a complete fluke, no Republican has done this good with Hispanics in a very long time. And for those that say, well, Bush 2004, he lost them by like 10 to 15 points. There's a bunch of reasons why that was a complete fluke. It was not sustainable. And we clearly saw it wasn't. Because after 2004, Republicans got absolutely killed with Hispanic voters. There's a bunch of reasons why that happened. And the two biggest reasons why that occurred back in 2004 was, for starters, Bush was the former governor of Texas. You cannot tell me with a straight face that did not impact his margin at all. Because even in 2004, Texas had a lot of Hispanic voters. And Bush was the former governor of Texas. And, well, he did great in Texas, which undoubtedly helped his margin with Hispanic voters. But on top of that, people just forget that back in 2004, turnout among Hispanic Protestants was way up, like historically up. It was up by a lot, and that inflated Bush's margin because Hispanic Protestants, they're way more Republican than Hispanic Catholics. That's why Bush in 2004, he did unusually well with Hispanic voters, and that's why it wasn't sustainable, because right after that happened, Republicans got clobbered with them. For crying out loud, back in 2012, I think they got like 25% of the vote with these voters. Yeah, they got 25% of the Hispanic vote back in 2012. It was pathetic. But now, it's becoming apparent that Trump is doing way better with Hispanic voters because it's not just, oh, it's one cycle and that's that. No, Trump did better with Hispanics in 2020, and it's clear he's doing way better with them in 2024. If he is really doing 20 points better with Hispanic voters, Trump's in a very good position. Now, you might be saying, well, this could be a fluke. Maybe it's just a certain type of Hispanic that's shifting Republican. No, look at this. They detailed Hispanics by gender, by age. And funny enough, the biggest trends towards Trump, they come from younger Hispanics, and funny enough, women. Yeah, not from men and not from older Hispanics. It's mostly women and younger Hispanics that are shifting the most Republican. This is a big deal because the whole argument some people are saying was, well, it doesn't matter. It's just one demographic that's within Hispanic voters that are shifting Republican. No, it's not just older Hispanics finally becoming Republican. It's younger Hispanics trending heavily towards Trump. And at this point, they're to the right of older Hispanic voters. This tells me that, yeah, it's not just one type of Hispanic voter shifting way to the right, but that's that. No, it's nearly every generation of Hispanics shifting Republican, with the biggest trends coming from younger Hispanic voters. Now, will this continue? We just got to see what happens in 2026, 2028. But right now, according to NBC News, not a far-right outlet, they are admitting that Trump is getting 41% of the young Hispanic vote. He's at 34% with women, which is a big deal. And if these trends continue, there's a possibility by the end of the decade, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if Republicans keep gaining like 4 to 5% each year, by 2028, 2032, there's a chance that Republicans could win the majority of the Hispanic vote. Now, I don't think it's going to happen for sure, but these numbers look pretty good for Republicans. They're not just doing better with some Hispanics, but that's that. No, they're doing better with every type of Hispanic. Younger, women. They're doing better even with older ones. It's not just they're doing better with like older Hispanics and that's that. No, it's every type of Hispanic they're doing way better with. And for those that are saying, well, that's just NBC News, even the New York Times, they found Trump at 40% of the Hispanic voter, I should say 39%, with Harris only at 51%. Yeah. Oh, that's that. 51%. That's it. Not 55, not 56, 51%. Which is nearly identical to what NBC News found. And speaking of the New York Times poll, look at this. Trump is also cracking 15% with the black vote. Harris is not even at 80% right now. Now, I'm not saying Trump's going to crack 20% of the black vote, but there's been a bunch of polls in recent weeks that clearly demonstrate Trump is doing way better, not just with Hispanics, but now doing way better with African American voters, and not by 1%. You're talking about he barely got like 8 to 10% of the black vote back in 2020. Yeah, these same voters, right now, Trump is getting 15% as of now. And there's been some polls out there that indicate he's actually getting closer to 20%. Now, is that going to happen for sure? Maybe not, but just like the Hispanic vote, even if these undecideds all break for Harris, and let's just say Trump does a couple points worse than expected, he is still doing way better with African Americans, with Hispanics, with younger voters. It's not just, oh, he does 1 point worse than expected, and it's a big underperformance. No. If Trump is at 15% of the Hispanic or black vote and 40% of the Hispanic vote, if that's that and that's all he gets, that's not a win for Harris. That's a colossal failure, because if Trump is only getting 15% of the black vote, 40% of the Hispanic vote, it's not just states like Arizona and Georgia without impact. States like Michigan, Pennsylvania, they have decent-sized African-American populations, which, by the way, Congresswoman Slotkin, who's running for the Senate seat in Michigan, she's a Democrat. She admitted in a fundraiser, oh yeah, our internal polling shows that Kamala Harris is way behind Trump in Michigan. Yeah. And this wasn't just, oh, Harris said this to an anonymous source. No, apparently, during a fundraiser, she admitted, yeah, it turns out Harris is way behind in Michigan. Which, by the way, makes sense if she's doing that much worse with African American voters, that much worse with Hispanics, and of course, the Muslim vote, which we've talked about a lot, that they're shifting Republican as well. You add all of this up, and it becomes apparent that they have a big problem. The Democrat Party is facing a disaster because it's not just one demographic. It's Hispanics, African Americans, young voters, white working class voters. They're still shifting Republican. I don't care what some of these people say. There's no way in hell you could tell me with a straight face that Kamala Harris has more appeal to white working class voters than Joe Biden did. Bullshit. That's not going to happen. If it does happen, okay, I'll be wrong. But do you really think that she has more appeal to these people than Biden did? No. Biden's nickname was Scranton Joe, for crying out loud. That's why he did so good in places like Scranton, Pennsylvania. But with Kamala Harris, I just don't see the appeal she has. So you add all this up, this could be a disaster. Because if she's doing bad with Hispanics, African Americans, Muslims, hell, even Jewish voters, they're shifting Republican as well. If white working class voters even shift just 3 points Republican, how the hell can Harris win in that scenario? Because at that point, she is doing worse with every single demographic. And at that point, she has to do like 10 to 15 points better with white college-educated voters. Is that possible? Maybe. But I highly doubt that she does that much better with those voters. I just don't think that's going to occur. So you add in all of this crap for Harris. Collapse with Hispanic voters, African American voters, Jewish voters, Muslim voters, white working class voters. You add all this up, she needs a miracle with white college-educated voters, which I just don't think, A, there's enough of them, and B, I don't think she could do much better with them anyways. Like, do you really think she could do 10 to 15 points better with those voters? Maybe 5 points, but if it's only a 5-point shift, especially in the Rust Belt, Georgia, maybe Arizona, you're done. You're getting killed in the Rust Belt. Even in states like Michigan, which Slotkin admitted that, yeah, we have her underwater in our own polling. Which, by the way, the Axios try to frame this as, actually, this is usual. No. It's usual for a campaign to say, hey, we're in a close race for Michigan. We need all your financial support. You don't say, yeah, our nominee for president, he is down by, or she is down by a lot in Michigan. Give me money. Why would you say that about Harris? Because you're running for the Senate. Again, I guess it could be a fundraising ploy, I get that, but I find it very unlikely that you would say that Harris is down. Because your opponent isn't Donald Trump, it's Mike Rogers. So who the hell cares if Harris is barely losing Michigan? Unless it is so bad in the state, which I guess is a possibility as well. But if her point is this bad, where they're admitting that, yeah, we need your financial support to save Slotkin because Harris is way down in Michigan, oh boy, she might actually be in deep trouble. I don't know what to say about that, but the fact that they're admitting this, I don't think it's a good look. I really don't think it is. And when you factor in Harris is doing way worse with every demographic, and these same demographics, they are key voters in Michigan. We just got to see what happens. Maybe this was taken out of context, who knows, but the more you read into the polling among Hispanics, African Americans, even Muslim and Jewish voters, it's all negative for Harris. There's no positives here. And if she's really doing this much worse with all these voters, it would make sense why Slotkin would admit, oh yeah, Kamala Harris is underwater in Michigan. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.